Right, so I'm back down at Christchurch for my second session. Got here yesterday morning, which was the Sunday at 8 o'clock. Ideally, I'd like to get here a bit earlier than that, but the gates don't open until sort of 7, 8 in the morning, so don't have no choice on that one. There's quite a few people here when I got here. It wasn't rammed, but, you know, there were swims. I did a lap, spoke to some matey on the opposite bank, sort of bucketed a swim that I wanted to get in at some point during my stay. While I was around there talking to him, he mentioned that he hadn't seen many fish, but the fish he had seen had been sort of opposite him. The lake hadn't done a bite since I left, basically. Nothing had been caught. It'd been closed for a little while. Apparently some fish had been spawning, which is quite surprising. I wouldn't expect them to spawn this early, but the lads that saw them apparently pretty clued up, so maybe they were, I don't know. But they'd shut part of the lake, and yet it hadn't done a fish, so it was obviously a bit moody. Apparently they hadn't been showing much either, but like I say, what he had seen was opposite him, so I had to wander around there, and as soon as I got into the swim, there were fish beneath the surface, you know, I could just see the slight vortexes and stuff. And so I dropped my gear in there, sprinted back to the car, grabbed my floater stuff. Sort of flat calm in front of me and a little bit of ripple further out. So I spotted the mixers out into the flat calm water. And the fish started taking them quite quickly, you know, they were on it pretty rapid. I was leaving the swam out there to stop the seagulls diving. Basically, if there's braid on the surface, the seagulls won't dive down and eat the mixers. So the carp were getting plenty of mixers and the seagulls were picking off any that drifted off to the left, which would also stop the carp from drifting out my swim. But yeah, I caught one quite quickly, probably I think my second cast, testing the new Korda controller floats, that worked nicely. And yeah, 28-pound common, a fish called lumpy common, definitely the ugliest fish in the lake, and one that all my mates were sort of taking the mick at me, saying, I hope you catch that one, I hope you catch that one, and I did, yeah. So, but you know, I was more than happy to have caught him. It was, like I say, a lake has been fishing slow, and it was a nice welcome back, nice way to start the session. Since then, you know, I carried on the floater fishing for a while, had a couple of other opportunities, but the wind really picked up strong and it just became quite hard to keep it going, really. So I found 3 areas in open water last night, 2 gravel, 1 silt, put 5 sbombs of crushed boilies, whole boilies, particle and pellet over each rod, really tight, and then spread 30 or 40, 15 and 18 mil cell over the area with a catapult just to try and draw fish in onto the spot. And nothing's happened. It's absolutely hammered down all morning and all night, and I haven't seen anything in front of me. The bloke at the far end had a 44-pound 10-ounce mirror this morning, and that was the fish I said I nearly caught on the bread flake last session, out the edge a few times. You know, that fish did look up for it at the time, and to be honest, I'm not surprised it's been caught, and just so happens to be out of that swim as well. But I have seen fish, the one swim I have seen fish showing consistently is the swim I bucketed yesterday, so I can't wait to get in there. Basically, he's packing up now by the look of it. I've kept my eyes on him all morning. He's packing up, so as soon as I get the okay, I'm going to do the same. Pack up, the rain stopped just in time by the look of it, and yeah, I'm going to get myself around there and hopefully be on fish. Right, so to bring you up to date on what's happened, basically I moved on Monday morning, well I moved Monday afternoon, probably about 2 o'clock it was, moved into the swim I'm in now, which was the area I'd sort of bucketed the day before where I'd seen all those fish showing in the morning. My initial plan when I come in here was to flick 3 single chod rigs out, real short chod rigs, just flick them out amongst the weed, sit back and let the fish tell me what to do. But after a few casts, you know, it was quite clear the weed was worse than I was expected, and I wasn't going to be able to just chuck a choddy in it and just leave them sitting there. Like, not how I like to fish them anyway, so I sort of had a bit of a gamble. I thought, you know, I could have 2 nights left in here if I want to. So I had a good lead around, and basically I found 2 areas out to the right, one about 40 yards, one about sort of 25 yards, 30 yards, and they were slightly bigger areas than the left. Still quite small, cute little spots, but a little bit more obvious than the left-hand rod. The left-hand rod was the one I was most confident in. Spent a long time, probably spent the best part of 45 minutes, I reckon, maybe even an hour, leading up the left-hand rod. Really close in, but very, very small spot, and it took a lot just to get that lead landing. I wanted the lead to land at the back of the spot so that the chod rig and the putty could lay across the rest of the spot, you know. So the spot was probably only 3 foot I wanted my rig just to sit perfectly in the middle of it. The wind was absolutely smashing down into this corner, and it was making, you know, what would normally be 3 casts became 6, and what would be 5 casts became 10. It just took a bit longer than it normally would just because of the wind. But I was more than happy with the spot once I got it sorted. Basically, I flicked all 3 rods out, choddies on each. I put 4 boilies over my left-hand rod. I put about 10 boilies over my middle rod, and I put about 60 baits over my right-hand rod. And yeah, you know, traps were set. Hadn't seen anything else since leading around, but sort of wasn't expecting to. A lot of fish up the other end, and come about 8 o'clock, I sort of 9 o'clock in the evening, I did see my first one back down this end, just a little bit beyond me, and then probably 20 minutes later I saw one quite close to my right-hand rod. But that was it, just those 2 shows, nothing else. And I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and basically the wind was so strong I'd had to turn the sensitivity right down on my Delkins because I kept bleeping. In the end I turned them to, so they were a minus set and turned them to 0. So you've got to pull about 6 inches for the alarm to bleep. I've woken up in the middle of the night, 4 o'clock, my right-hand rod is, the reel was in the alarm, the middle rod's pulled forward about 6 inches, where I think the right-hand rod's caught it on its way forward. And it looked, by any account, that, you know, I'd had a take. I never sleep through fish, you know, my rods are 2 foot from my bed chair. But I picked the rod up straight away, and the rig came in sort of pretty much from where I cast it. The hook point was absolutely fine, you know, and I sharpened them quite a lot, so if the hooks ain't, they're normally ruined. None of my beads had moved on the chod rig or anything, so I really don't know what happened there. I've got no idea what moved my rods, but I would have thought if a fish had done it, something would have changed on the rig, you know, and I'm sure the bobbin was still attached as well. I didn't pay too much attention because I thought I had a fish attached, but I really don't know what happened there. But that was about as exciting as it got for me, really. I didn't see anything else all morning, and I wasn't sure whether to stay last night, but I sort of sat it out. There was a lot of fish at the top end, and all the anglers down this end of the lake, they all disappeared, and I started to think maybe a few will creep back down here, because it's a very pressured lake, and you know, I'm sure they'll realise the fact there's no one here. So I sat it out, and about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I saw my first show, right near my left-hand rod, probably rod length away. An hour after that, I saw another show out in the middle, probably 80 yards away. And I just started to wonder, maybe, you know, maybe they're coming back down here. Some bloke from up the bank, he turned up and was having a chat with him, and he said he'd seen a few fish in the margins, which is a good sign, you know. That's what I was hoping. They'd patrol this margin, come down, improve my swim out into this body of water down here. And yeah, he was sat with me, and about 3 o'clock, my left-hand rod smashed into the top and just started ripping, you know, like definitely a carp attached. I was using heli-safe, so the lead had come off. There's quite a lot of weed about, like I said, and the fish was in the upper layers, just going crazy out in front of me, left and right, and through the weed beds. It was like a mad old fight. But yeah, eventually, after about 15, 20 minutes, mate, he slipped the net under a fish, and he went to me, "That's baby Paulie's, about 43 pounds. And I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, "No, that's not 43 pounds. No way is that 43 pounds. Anyway, he's gone back to his swim. I'm looking at the net, I'm thinking, "No, that's about 37 pounds. He come back and we weighed it, and it was yeah, 43 pounds, 14 ounces. So like, really big fish, and I'm absolutely over the moon. You'll see from the video footage and the pictures, you know, it's an absolutely amazing fish. Massive scallops along his flanks, like just cool, really cool carp, and that's exactly what I come there for. You know, I wanted to catch one of them big mirrors, and as you can probably imagine, I'm absolutely delighted to have done so. But yeah, that was enough for me to stay the night. You know, I stayed the night. I see a few fish showing while I was doing the pictures actually, but flick the rods back out nice and slow. Oh, there's one. One's just gone over out the front. bit further than me. But yeah, it's the first one I've seen all morning. But yeah, I did last night. Fished a rod in this swim and pushed one rod a little bit further up the bank to where I'd seen a few fish show, but nothing. But to be honest, I don't really care. I'm gonna, when a fish, it was a bird. I'm gonna pack up and go to work. One very, very happy boy.